أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today we are going to study muscles contraction because this contraction happen at the macro level. So we have to understand that what is the muscles itself when we will observe under the electronic microscope. Muscle contraction is caused by the interaction of the thick and thin filaments. The structure of protein molecule determines interaction. These thick and thin filaments are made up of protein. And we call them myofilaments, thick filaments composed of the protein known as myosin, approximately 500 in number, these myosins. Each myosin molecule has a rod-like tail and two globular heads. You can observe in this picture also, figure. It has got two heads, one tail, myosin molecule. Tail two interwoven heavy polypeptide chains means these two strands are twisted on each other. Two interwoven heavy polypeptide chains bound together pointing towards the M line had two small light polypeptide chains that each out and grab onto actin. The heads of the myosin, they attract or grab the head of the actin. In that way, the muscles contract. In another figure, the myosin molecule, you can see there is a myosin head, hinge, hinge, the myosin tail, and this is a myosin molecule. Myofilaments, thin filaments. This is the myofilaments, and first was a thick, and this is a thin. Thin myofilaments. These filaments chiefly compose of the protein actin held together by the nubulin. Means these filaments are chiefly composed of protein and actin held by nubulin. Nubulin is one of the site where the actin attach with the myosin. The subunit contains the active sites to which myosin had attached during contraction. Tropomyosin strains block active sites. Then there is another kind of protein which block the active sites. We call it tropomyosin. Troponin holds tropomyosin. The troponin that hold the tropomyosin and actin together at rest. When there is a relaxation of the muscles, they hold the actin at rest. You can see the figure. There is a troponin complex, tropomyosin is there, and then actin is there, right? In that way, portion of the thin filament. This is portion of the thin filament. Arrangement of the filament in a sarcomeres. These whole filaments are inside a membrane, which is known as sarcomere. In that sarcomere, there is a sarcoplasm liquid, and that liquid contains calcium. The influx and outflux of calcium causes the contraction and relaxation of these filaments. And in big muscles, when we observe, the muscles will contract. But on macroscopic level, actin and myosin, their heads come together, and that causes a contraction. And when they separated, that causes a relaxation of the muscles. So there are two types of filaments, thick and thin filament. They move, come close together, and they then separated, and that will create a muscle contraction motion. Troponin and tropomyosin, what is this? Troponin binds tropomyosin to actin, consists of three subunits. TNL bind to actin, TNT bind to troponin, TNC bind calcium. As I have mentioned before you that these filaments cannot move without the influx and outflux of calcium into the sarcomere. if it comes out from the sarcomere and then enter into the sarcomere, if it will enter into the sarcomere, then thin and thin filaments, they contract, they come close together. And the heads of actin and myosin, they attach with the help of tubulin. Controlled by the calcium, kind of the lock and calcium is the key. So calcium is the key to open and close the movement. Initiating contraction, calcium binds to receptors on troponin molecule. What calcium do? It binds to the troponin molecule. Troponin, tropomyosin complex change shape, move troponin out of the way, expose the active site of each actin molecule's bead. Myosin action, during contraction, myosin heads interact with the actin filaments, forming cross bridge, pivot, producing motion. So in that way, the motion will start, the movement will start. It is the pivoting of the myosin head that causes muscle contraction. The myosin head comes close to the actin and it causes contraction. Therefore, all movement happens. This figure will show you I band, A band, S zone, Z line, and thick and thin filament also. So sarcomere at rest, at the rest time, they separated. As you can see, the gap of A band is smaller, and you can see at the time of contraction, this A band will shrink, and the actin and myosin comes close together. You can see during the contraction, the sarcomere shortened, and at the time of relaxation, the sarcomere enlarged. Means the total filaments which are present in the sarcomere, when they relax, the size of the sarcomere will increase. When they contract, the size of the sarcomere shrink. So you will observe the contraction and relaxation of the muscles. They have got a sliding movement model of the contraction. The thin filament slides past the thick one so that the actin myosin filaments overlap to each other. So there is a contraction of actin and myosin. They come close together and they overlap on each other. In relaxed state, thin and thin filaments overlap only slightly. And at relaxation, they will separate it and their overlapping is reducing. Upon stimulation, myosin heads bind to actin and sliding begin. So when there is an stimulation, how stimulation will come? When the calcium will come inside the sarcomere. And in that way, when it will come inside the sarcomere, then there is a contraction. The stimulus will be given by the calcium. Myosin heads pull the actin thin filament closer together, sliding them in between the thick filament. As this event occurs throughout the sarcomere, the muscles shorten. Z line moves closer together. All these Z lines, they will come to closer. The wide band of the A stay the same. Width of the I band and H band zones, those shrink. So this is all about, we were talking about the muscles contraction. As we have observed, if you see a biceps muscles or a triceps muscles, you can observe your own hand and your humerus bone. On that there is a muscle, biceps and triceps, or the back side biceps and front side. And the front side is biceps and back is posterior is triceps. And you can observe the contraction and relaxation because these whole small myosin and actin and myofilaments, they will convert into tissue and tissue will convert into muscles, and then this muscle is a bulk of collection of these filaments. So this is all about the muscles. Then we come on the next topic, which is integumentary system. That is a skin. There is a figure, you can observe the name, structure, because this is anatomy. So you must observe skin and fascia. On the top, there is a skin and there is another layer which is known as fascia. As on your bed, you put first one thick sheet that is known as fascia, and on that sheet, then you have a real sheet, that is a chadar, we call it in Urdu, so bed sheet. So there are two layers, skin and fascia. So introducing Skin, superficial fascia, then there is two type of fascia is there. One is superficial, one is deep, which is very close to the bone. Skin coloration, when we'll talk about the skin coloration, skin is the best indicator of general health. By observing a face or a hand or a body, you can say this person metabolic function is good, blood circulation is good or bad, and overall health is good or bad by just observing the skin. When we examine physical examination of our patient, we just stand at the his toe or leg side, feet side, and then observe the whole body, and we observe the color of the skin, and from that color I can, or the doctor or physician can say he's a healthy person or he's a diseased person, or his systems of the body are working properly or not. Three pigments are there in the skin. One is known as melanin, one is known as keratin, and one other is known as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, you are well famous, you know this hemoglobin, you understand hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in RBCs and function is to carry the oxygen. Heme means iron, globin means protein. There is a combination of protein and iron, and it will carry the oxygen to each and every tissue of the body, which is the basic requirement. So as much as hemoglobin you have in your body, your skin is, you can observe the skin is very fresh and red. Keratin, this is one of the protein which is also help in giving the healthier appearance to the skin. Then melanin will give you the color of your skin, black, white, pink, whatever color. Function of skin. Protection, first function of the skin is protection because our defense mechanism consists of three things. One is skin, another is WBCs, which is agranulocytes and granulocytes. In one, there is a granule and other, there is no granule. So three are the granules and three are the agranules, means without granules. Eosin, basophil, monocytes, lymphocytes, plasma cells, neutrophils. This is These are all the white blood cells. This is second defense mechanism. Third is our protein in the body, which is a globulin. And their globulin are of five types: IgG, IgD, IgE, IgM, IgA. Synthesis and shortage, cushion. The protection is function of skin is protection. Cushion and insulate and is waterproof. This skin doesn't allow water to enter into the body from outside. If you are in swimming pool, cold water won't come in your body. In the same way, in cold weather, skin will help to reduce the feeling of cold, means insulation. And in the same way, skin has got a adipose tissue beneath, under, and that causes a cushion feeling on skin, means protect from the shock. The second function is protect from the trauma or from the injury and chemicals, heat, cold, bacteria. Then skin will receive or screen out the UV light. For our body benefit, UV light should be 250 microns wavelength and 3000, 300, sorry, 300, not 3000, 300. And this uh, wavelength of UV light is helpful for our body. And what is the function of this? UV light, what we gain from the environment, climate, that will that will help to produce vitamin D, synthesis and storage of the vitamin D. So UV light is very necessary and that comes through the skin and the skin will screen it. Won't allow less than 2.5 micron wavelength and 300 wavelength above that, because that is harmful for the skin. capable of absorbing drugs. If topical medicines if you put on the skin, it will absorb through the skin. And excretion in summer, the heat outside will not affect your body because body will take out from the sweat gland your perspiration, and that causes a balance of heat. Regulates body regulates body temperature, prevent insensible water loss, sensory perception. Nerve endings are there on the skin. Prevent insensible water loss. There are 500 ml of water loss in every 24 hours from our body. If due to the summer, due to the heat, if it will increase, then it means we are losing more water from our body, and that will cause hydration, dehydration. Sensory perceptions, our skin has got a nerve, we call it nerve endings. Then ability to regenerate. The skin can regenerate if it will burn or destroy due to the trauma. So you have observed that there are a lot of function of skin, and there is a structure of skin. You can see it. There is a hair follicle. There are pores in the skin. There is a nerve in the skin. What I have just mentioned you. There are elastic fiber to give a flexibility in the skin, stretch quality. Then we talk about the top layer of the skin, which is known as epidermis. Epidermis is the top layer of the skin, and it has got about 4 different sections longitudinally. If you'll observe from top to bottom, only epidermis. I'm not talking about the dermis, just epidermis. Epi means above. Statium corneum, statium granulosum, statium spongiosum, and statium daceli. And then the dermis will stop. Epi above, dermis below, means in the center. Statium corneum cells are dead. The top cells of the skin are dead cells. As you go for shaving your face daily, it will comes out from your skin all over the body. When you go to the bed, it will comes out, and the debris should be removed. So that's why you have been advised whenever you get up in the morning, change your cloth, undergarments, and take fresh shower and clean your skin, because there are a lot of debris of stadium corneum, which are the dead cells, which remove from the body daily. Then stadium granulosum, sorry, first of all we will complete the stadium corneum. By flat membranous sacs filled with keratin, glycolipids in extracellular space. So there are two things are there. There is a keratin and glycolipids that will come out of your skin every 24 hours. Means whole day and whole night it is just shattering out from the skin. Top layer, stadium corneum. Then stadium granulosum cells are flattened. Organelles, organelles deteriorating cytoplasm full of lamellated granules release lipids and keratohyalin granules in second layer. The third layer is statium spongiosum, as the name shows, is sponge, softness. Cells contain thick bundle of intermediate filaments made up of pre-keratin. Pre-keratin means they prepare the keratin and put it on the upper layer, and then it will move on the top layer, stadium corneum. Means spongiosum has pre-keratin. That keratin will move from Stadium sponginosum to Stadium granulosum, and from granulosum to Stadium corneum, and then it will remove from there into the surrounding, means on your cloth or dress. Then the fourth is Stadium bacilli. Cells are actively mitotic systems. Cells, some newly formed cells become part of the more superficial layer. So the manufacturing of these all cells, keratin and glycoprotein and everything, it is prepared in the Stadium bacilli, and it will move on the top layer. Layer of the epidermis, as I have mentioned you, now we will go in detail. The layer of epidermis, lower epidermis layer, near dermis, good nutrient supply, reproduces mitosis, dividal, columnar in shape, move to upper epidermis in 27 days from the bottom to the, from the, we have started from the bottom and then we will go on the top layer. So within 27 days, the new cells will be ready. Then it will move towards living cells, that is the Stadium sponginosum, dividing over here. They divide themselves 8 to 10 cells thick, polygonal in appearance. Then it will move towards the Stadium granulosa, poor nutrient supply, flattened cells of layer of the cell, 3 to 5 cells thick, no cell division, keratin accumulates. Then Stadium lucidum, found only in very thick skin, translucent, highly keratinized and dead cells. Then Stadium corneum, the top layer, 25 to 30 cells thick, cells are filled with the keratin and hardened. Slot off means they remove from the top skin, outer layer of the epidermis. There was a keratinocytes. So there are 4 layers. What we have discussed is the part of epidermis only. Now we have to move to the dermis. Cells type in the dermis. What type of the cells are present in the dermis? Means in the second layer of the skin. First was epidermis. Epidermis has got 4 parts, right? What were they? They were Stadium corneum, Stadium granulosum, Stadium sponginosum, and Stadium bacilli. Now we are coming to the after epidermis. Epidermis above. We are coming beneath the epidermis, that is the dermis. Let's see what dermis contains. Dermis contain keratinocytes, produce keratin tough fiber proteins. They are premature cells produced by the epidermis, that is known as keratinocytes, produce keratin. Melanocytes produce melanin, neutral crest origin. Merkel cells, neural crest origin. Merkel cells means they have, this is a place where the nerve attached with the muscles or the skin. Merkel cells. Neural crest origin associated with the sensory nerve ending. Over here, there are placed sensory nerves and specialize in the perception of light touch. Then Langerhans cells, bone marrow origin, located in basal sponginosum, spongineous and granular layer, act as an antigen presenting cells. These cells, Langerhans cells, produced in the bone marrow, located in the basal sponginosum and granular layers, act as an antigen presenting cells. Now we come on the layer of the dermis, as we have discussed. Just elaborate a little more of this papillary layer, composed of loose alveolar connective tissue in the layer of the dermis, finger-like projection called the papillae that extend towards the epidermis. You can see the figures. You can observe the figures and you will get the result of that. Means when you will see the names what appearing over here in the slides, You can see in the pictures or figures also. Finger-like projection called the papillae and extend towards the epidermis. The papillae provide the dermis with a bumpy surface. This papillae will give the softness to the skin, a bumpy feeling that interdigitates with the epidermis, strengthening the connection between the two layers of skin. Here are the figure. You can see the figure. You can observe the figure. All the names are there, what I have mentioned just now. Reticular layer. The reticular region lies deep into the papillae region and is usually much thick, contain the skin appendages. It is composed of dense, irregular connective tissue. Fibers are collagens, elastic and reticular, give the dermis its properties of strength, stability, and elasticity. So, the skin elasticity, extensibility, and strength are due to the collagens, elastic, and reticular cells, which is present in the dermis. Fibroblasts, macrophages, mast cell, WBCs are also present over there because macrophages they prevent for any infection. Fibroblasts will produce the new cells of the fibers, and mast cells contain react against the any allergy because mast cell contain the histamine, and then WBCs protect the skin from infection, outside infection or inside infection, because WBCs are the second defense line of our body. So, and there are two types of skin: thin hairy skin or thick non-hairy glabrous skin. So some people have a very shiny skin, some have a very thin skin. You must have observed some of the our women were very beautiful, like the women of Iran or women of Europe. They have got, you can see their veins under the skin. The skin is so thin that even inside skin vessels are visible. So there are two types of skins, thick and thin. Then on the skin, there are surface tension lines and skin creases, form a network of a linear furrow which divides the surface into polygonal or lozenge shape area. If you observe under the microscope, electronic microscope, you can see your skin is made up of, look like a polygonal or lozenge shape area. These lines to some extent correspond to the variation in the pattern of fibers in the dermis. Tension lines and cleavage and Langen lines, you can see on the body. There are different type of lines are present. These are tension line of the skin due to the pattern of arrangement of the collagen fiber in the dermis. These lines were first described by Langer in 1861 in cadaver. Cadaver means dead body. Tend to spiral longitudinal in the limb. In limbs, it's a longitudinal and runs transversely in the neck. You can observe in this figure. In front, at the elbow, knee, wrist, and ankle are parallel to the transverse creases that appear when the limbs are flexed. What is the purpose of just studying all these tension lines and cleavage, longer lines? Because now, as the surgery advanced, the surgeon will give incision on these lines. We call it cosmetic surgery. If you will cut down these lines, then healing after healing process, there will remain a scar on the skin and it will spoil your cosmetic appearance of your skin after the surgery. So these lines are very important and we must observe these lines, especially for the surgeries. Okay. Skin incision that are given parallel to the tension. See, the same thing. It is given over the incision means cut. The surgeon will give cut parallel, not horizontal. If he will cut down the horizontal, then the healing process will leave the scar over there, and it will spoil the appearance of your cosmetic appearance of your skin. Usually heal well, and there is also advantage if you give a parallel cut with these lines, then healing process is better. With minimum scarring, scars are not appear or minimum will appear because of the minimum disruption of the collagen fiber, because we have cut down parallel, not horizontal. Then there is a stretch mark in the skin after pregnancy. 9 months, the fetus will grow and grow and grow, and the all uterus will extend and extend, and the stomach extend, and then these stomach lines damage to the collagen fibers in dermis due to the overstretching, as in the pregnancy or abdominal enlargement. The people who has got a big tummies, so there is also abdominal enlargement, and they have got these lines, and we call it stretch mark. Then wrinkle lines, like in old age, caused by the contraction of underlying muscles present perpendicular to their axis of shortening. On face, they are known as line of the facial expression. Aging makes them permanent due to the loss of skin elasticity. Though we also have these lines when we express ourselves, our anger, our happiness, it will come on the face by these lines, but it will be permanent in the old age because their skin, underlying muscles, they are weak. Their adipose tissues are removed. That's why these lines are wrinkle lines, permanently appearing on the face. Flexion lines in the hand, flexion lines or the joint lines. Major marking found in the vicinity of the synovial joints, means knee, where the skin is attached strongly to underlying deep fascia, prominent on the flexure surface of the palm, on the palm and sole and digits, fingers. These lines you can see on your hand. Skin lines do not necessarily coincide with the underlying joint lines. Then flexor lines, normal palm creases, as you have observed in your palm. Semen lines, which is in the center, shown in the figure. The papillary epidermis, friction ridges, thumb, finger, thumb impression. Friction ridge is a raised portion of the epidermis on the finger and toes, the palm of the hand, or the sole of the foot, are caused by underlying interface between the dermis papillae of the dermis and the interpapillae ridge pecs of the epidermis. Along the summit of each ridge, apertures of sweat ducts open at regular intervals. Dermis determine the development pattern of the epidermis. So the second line of the skin, that is the dermis, and top is epidermis. So these lines are produced in dermis and appear on the epidermis. Then fingerprints, which is very common, which is used in identification of your national identity card, passport. A fingerprints is an impression led by the friction ridges of a human finger. This is genetically determined, unique to the individual. Not a single person on the earth has got a similar fingerprints. Stable throughout the life and serve as a mean of personal identification. It's a mean of personal identification. You can identify the person by his fingerprints. The analysis of the ridge pattern by studying fingers and footprint is known as a dermatoglyphic. So this is all about today's lecture, and I will request you, if you find difficulty or any problem, please kindly contact me and I will clarify your queries. Or at the end of these lectures, we can have a discussion lectures on Zoom also. Thank you very much.